Welcome to UG Academy. Today we are going to talk about array in C++. An array in C++ is simply a contiguous block within the computer's memory, which holds the same data type. Here is an illustration. For example, X is an array of integers. So it is a continuous block of memory within the computer, and each of the index holds a location. So the array is contain a list of n integers, and each of them is located by an index. And we can access the array's content using this subscript operator here. Okay, let's have a look at an example. Here, I've already pre-written two functions to print out the array. We are not going to talk about these two functions within this video. Instead, we are going to learn about how to initialize an array variable. An array can be of any data type. But to keep it simple, we are going to use data types that we have already learned. For example, here we define an array of float numbers. It can be any data type other than float. It can be character, it can be integer, among other things. Okay, so now here is a float variable. We first type in the data type of this array, and then we create the name for the array. In this case, the name of the array is X. And then we type in this subscription symbol to indicate that this variable is actually an array. And then we assign an initial list of value to the array. So in this case, this array contains 4 elements, and they are initialized to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is one way of initializing an array. Of course, there's other way to initialize an array, especially when the array becomes very long. It will be impossible for you to initialize it like this. We can also initialize an array within a loop, okay? So we are going to talk about this part later. So here, I initialize an integer array. But instead of directly assigning the value of the array, we simply denote the size of the array. So in this case, the integer array will be of size 12, so it will hold 12 integers. But since the array is relatively big, we are not going to directly initialize a value in it. Instead, we are going to initialize the value of the array with a for loop. The for loop we have learned before. Within this for loop, we can also see how can we access or modify the value of an array. In C++, we are going to have a zero-based programming language, which means that index of array are going to be starting from 0. Okay, so our loop counter will start from 0 and then go all the way to 11, because our array having 12 elements, so it will go from 0 to 11. Okay. So within the loop, we are going to initialize the values of our array. Without initialization, those values are just garbage. We don't know what are there. So we have to initialize it. In this case, I'll initialize the value of the array with a square value. So when I is 0, so the first element within this array, I'll initialize to 0 times 0, and then 1 times 1, 2 times 2, and so forth. So this integer array will be an array of the first 12 square numbers. And then we are going to print out the content of this array. I've already pre-written some function to print out the contents of this array, but we are not going to talk about the details here. We are going to talk about it in the next video. So in this video, we learned about how to initialize the value of an array. And we also learn about the fact that array in C++ are 0-based, so they always start from 0. Okay, let's have a look at the result. For sake of time, I've already pre-compiled it. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 here, the array X here, and then 0 to 121, so it's actually the array Y here. Okay, so that's all for today.